welcome to the Otter Tail County Veterans Show on Park Region TV. I'm Charlie Campa, Otter Tail County Veterans Service Officer. We'll leave off with our office locations, the hours, and the staffing a little later on in the program. But I'd like to introduce you to Kristen Helmers. She is a district representative for the Family Assistance Centers in Detroit Lakes in this case. Did I get everything correct, Kristen?
Yep, I'm the Military Family Assistance Center, and my office is in Detroit Lakes, but I serve all of Minnesota. Yep.
All of Minnesota, primarily the 27 counties
Correct.
in northern Minnesota. That's quite a chunk of territory.
Yeah.
Tell us about yourself, your military family.
Yeah, so I am a military spouse. My husband has been deployed 2 times and has done overseas training. He has been deployed to Iraq, and the first time we deployed, I say we because it is a we.
Very much.
I had a 1.5-year-old and a 4-week-old baby, and my emotions were already crazy the way it was, and it was difficult, but we made it through. We did what we needed to do to be successful. He came back, and definitely everyone has changed. He had changed, the kids had changed, and my role as a wife had changed a little bit too. So, and then he got told that he was going to deploy again. And at first I was a little bit leery, but then I'm like, I did this, I can do it again.
You have a support group, or had a support group at the time.
Yes.
It took on an official name, but camaraderie with spouses of other veterans who were overseas.
Very much so. So we had the family readiness group, and we had 5 of us women still keep in touch. We still go to lunches and suppers and all that kind of stuff. So we made a bond, just like the soldiers make a bond when they're over there. We make a bond as a family, and we literally, if we haven't seen each other in a month, it's like we didn't miss a beat,
Right.
truthfully.
Well, tell us about the Family Assistance Center. How long have they been? How long has it been? When was it established? And you cover such a wide range of services for veterans and service members and families alike.
Yeah. So we started in 2005 and been going strong. So we have a bunch of different services. So we have crisis intervention and referral. So which entails different groups that we have established that are good resources to send them to.
Okay.
And then we also have financial resources. So for active duty service members, we have a grant that they can be if they qualify for that grant. We also have a personal financial counselor that is free for them, that goes to Camp Ripley, or they can do it over a phone. They can make out a budget and go through that. And I have a bunch of different resources on budgeting and money managing and all that different types, and what is a good place to put your money, and what would get you the best money for your bank.
Sure.
Yep.
Let's go back to the crisis intervention.
Sure.
That is a fairly well-used service by the Family Assistance Center, by veterans and families.
Yes.
Lower pay grade individual, veteran, or a service member that gets called to active duty doesn't necessarily have the funds to support the family once they're off their full-time work here and go back to the military pay. Some of the services you might provide, if someone contacts you, says, I'm getting behind on my electric bill, or the grocery shelves are looking pretty depleted.
Yeah. So for the energy assistance and things, we have different groups that we send that they can help provide extra support financially for them. I have, every single county has a food shelf, and most of them are having a Ruby's Pantry, so that's another resource that we do. And then we also have different groups that are willing to donate bags of groceries to service members, veterans, and families.
Individuals or even businesses watching today, owners of businesses watching today, are they able to donate to an assistance center?
So they can't donate to us, but then we have the service member, veteran, or their family reach out to them. But if they come contact me, then I will find the people that would need that assistance, and then I have them go to them, because I, as a family assistance center, unfortunately can't take the donation part of it.
Certainly, understood.
Yep.
Your job has picked up with the most recent deployment. How many have deployed? Do you have any idea? Upwards of 400?
Oh, a lot more than that. Just in the division deployment, that there was roughly 700 just in that deployment, and there is other units that are deployed currently. So I don't have an exact number, but I would say in the at least probably 1,500 range right now in Minnesota.
And with that in mind, you can't cover the whole state. There are a variety of locations for the Family Assistance Center,
Yep.
a total of 10.
Yes. Yep, there's one in Arden Hills, Bloomington, Camp Ripley, Cambridge, and then my office, Detroit Lakes, Duluth, Mankato, Montevideo, Rosemont, and then there's also one in Cottage Grove where our coordinator is located out of.
Okay, parent and or youth resources, what's that all?
So we, as the family programs, have a child and youth group that we have different resources that we can help provide. So the last one was, there was a zoo outing for military kids that are currently in the service. They got to do an overnight there. And there's a bunch of different avenues that they get to know. And if you follow me on the Facebook page, it's always on there. And if my email, I send out emails, so if you want to be on my distribution list, you just give me a call or send me an email, and I'd be gladly to put you on the list.
I'd encourage you to look up the Family Assistance Center Facebook page and log in and become a member. Like
Yeah.
it, I guess, is
Yeah.
what they say,
Yep.
being the technical expert that I should be, I guess. DEERS, explain DEER and ID cards.
So DEERS is a system where anyone that has been in the military has all their information in there. When it has what you've done in your military career. It has your family information. So that needs to be updated each time anything changes, so you can continue, especially if you're currently serving, because the benefits then will continue to be the same. And if you're a veteran, especially if you put your 20 years in, or you need to get an ID of that sort, it's important to have that information correct in there.
It can be daunting if a family member or a retiree just is looking for direction. The Family Assistance Center is the place to start. We get a lot of questions about that. Where do I get my ID card? In our case, there's a resource in Fargo or on Camp Ripley.
Correct. And there is one in Moorhead also now.
Well, there is.
So, but you do need to call to make appointments at the Moorhead office.
Okay.
Yep.
And then talk about TRICARE. TRICARE is a military insurance. That's changing this year.
It is. It changes about every 4 years, because that's when the contract is. It's not always changes, but it typically, they change to a new contractor typically. So I have all the updated information, packets of DEERS. I have the new numbers, the new websites, because not everybody will continue to be a TRICARE provider if they don't fill out the paperwork. Then they'll no longer be a provider. So you have to, before you go to the doctors, make sure that you check that they're still a TRICARE provider.
Is this open enrollment for TRICARE brand new? Are you familiar with that?
Yes, the fiscal year, that is new. The last year, that's when it started, but they were really lenient, but now they are sticking to their guns. You need to make sure you're in at the time that they say that needs to be done.
Open enrollment.
Correct, yep.
What kind of legal services can you provide? Do you use the legal resources frequently? Are there a lot of veterans or families in crisis with legal needs?
Yeah, so yes, actually, unfortunately, we have seen an uptake in that actually. So I help find different resources that are military friendly or pro bono. So I have them all. Almost every county I have one that's a military friendly, but there is in every county like the legal Northwest. I use that a lot because that's a lot of people qualify for that for my groups that I work with. So
what kind of issues can't you refer to? DWI, divorce, things like that. Some with the Minnesota Assistance Council for Veterans, and we've had representatives from that organization on too. They make referrals as you do.
Yep.
But that's about all they can do unless it's a misdemeanor offense.
So the military friendly ones typically do anything.
All range of services.
A lot of times with criminal, sometimes they don't, but majority of them that I have do. And honestly, if they don't, I look for another resource. If it's not military friendly, just a resource that they could use and see if that would be an option for them.
What else about the Family Assistance Centers? How long have you been doing this? You do such a wonderful job, and you have this passion there's an aura about you, Kristen.
Oh, thank you. I've only done it for a year and a half, so I haven't done it for very long, but my husband's in the military for 16 years, and I've been very active with the military, with helping people and getting them assistance, even before I did this job. So, but I have a passion for service members, families, and veterans just because they're like my family, because they know what we all go through.
How long, may I ask, did it take your family to become acclimated with each other again once your husband returned? Not necessarily after the first one. Was it any easier after the second deployment?
So the first one, it was very difficult, especially because I was a stay-at-home mom with my kids. So, and my husband, he paid the bills before he left. And so when he came back, he was so used to doing certain things, and I was so used to doing certain things, so it was hard we had to recompromise and remake a new family, the new normal, The second time when he came back, it was so much easier because we had the communication we just kind of slid right in. It was much easier.
When these members come home now, after a year or so, later on next year, what kind of resources are there to help them get reacclimated with each other, other than the reintegration, the nonstop that a military member experiences while he's overseas or she's overseas?
Yeah, so we have a lot of different counselings that we provide. We've been focusing on that because we've noticed that's kind of been a trend, as people are needing the counseling to talk, because sometimes it's hard for people to talk about kind of what happened here and what happened there. It's hard to understand if you don't talk about it, because you don't get it.
One part of the Facebook page that I saw, tragically, the suicide rate for Minnesota veterans is higher than the national rate.
Yeah.
But how do you identify, how do family members, spouses, husbands, and wives, and family members identify that type of stress, and what to look for when a service member who's coming home might need the help?
Yeah, so, and it's different for each person, that's for sure. But a lot of times if you start getting withdrawn, or you're noticing their intake and going out and having maybe too many beverages, or even just their anger, or their, like I said, it's different for each person. But if you see different symptoms that you haven't seen from your soldier or veteran before, that's a red light. Something that's new, that's out of the ordinary, that's a red light.
What can you add about the Family Assistance Center that people need to know?
You guys, any veteran service member or family should reach out to me, because I don't think they realize how many resources are available to them. So I think it's important for them to know what's available.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Kristen Helmers with the Family Assistance Center in the Northwest Territory, if you
Yep,
will.
yep, yep.
Office located in Detroit Lakes. Thank you so much for joining me
Thank
today.
you so much.
It's been very enlightening on what's out there. We've come so far and we continue to move forward as the military changes near daily, and come so far since the Persian Gulf War, since Vietnam War, the
Yes.
services that are out there. And if you are so inclined and just can't get a hold of Kristen personally, certainly come to our offices in New York Mills at 118 North Main Street. It's staffed Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. And in Fergus Falls, we're located at 505 South Court Street, again staffed Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. Wonderful staffing that can get you to Kristen or talk about your VA benefits if you're so inclined. I guess that's about the remainder of the program, with my thanks for joining us today on the Otter Tail County Veterans Show.